party, which is in the bathroom. Go ahead and get this started. Let's go ahead and swap this over as well. Is it? Hold on. It's one of these two keys. Please be this one. Yep, there we go. All right. Now pick up where we left off. Where I think, are we in the middle of Battler's moment, or I think we finished that. Let me see. Right. Okay, that's what we're getting into. Alright, so we'll pick up from there. With Jessica's death, it became certain that the culprit was hiding somewhere nearby, and that they'd come for our lives if they had a chance. According to Genji-san, when tomorrow morning comes, the boat should arrive. Make sure it's being picked up. Okay. The boat had a radio. We'd probably be able to contact the police directly with that. All of us gathered in a parlor and decided to wait quietly until tomorrow. I proposed that we should search throughout the mansion for clues about the culprit. But Aunt Rosa rejected that, saying that if we managed to corner the culprit, maybe provoke them, it might lead to a third murder. That was probably the right thing to do. If a bunch of amateurs like us investigate, there's no way we'd find anything. It would be wisest to focus on protecting ourselves without doing anything unnecessary and leave it to the police starting tomorrow. We'd been tense at the beginning, but other than Aunt Rosa, most of us had spent all morning watching TV and getting bored, so our sense of danger had faded considerably. When we thought about it, yes, 6 adults certainly had been killed together in the first murder, but that made it seem like some backhanded method like poison had been used. And for this second murder, we figured those two became sacrifices because they had been unfortunately isolated from the rest of us. From this, it was possible to imagine that the culprit wasn't a large number of adults, and that they wouldn't be capable of killing this large group gathered in a parlor all at once. Right now in this parlor, there's George Aniki and me. Maria, Aunt Rosa, Genji-san, Goto-san, Shannon-san, Kumasawa-san, and then Dr. Nanjo, total of 9 people. Furthermore, Aunt Rosa was even armed with a gun. Still don't think she should be the one holding it, but it's whatever. Nothing I can do. Surely with this many people staying in the room, they wouldn't be able to touch us easily. That feeling of security, along with the passage of time, allowed us to recover from the shock of that morning, bit by bit. By the way, lunchtime had just ended for us. However, it had been a canned food lunch, a far cry from the dinner last night that Goto-san had skillfully made for us. Aunt Rosa also suspected that poison may be used in the first murder, so we probably couldn't deny the possibility that the culprit had snuck into the kitchen during all that confusion in the morning and mixed poison in with the ingredients there. Aunt Rosa gave orders to all of us saying that until the police came, we mustn't put anything in our mouths except safe things like canned food. As a cook, Goto-san must have felt very let down. Apparently eager to display his skill anyway, He said he at least wanted to grab some plates and arrange the canned food on them. At first, Aunt Rosa had been reluctant in examining each one of the plates that were brought, but she hadn't been able to find anything to complain about. Is there a specific reason why he's narrating this instead of them just dialoguing it? And Goda's chef-picked canned food lunch combo was born. Goda-san said something about taste being savored, not just with the tongue, but with the eyes as well. I see. It's the same canned food we eat for breakfast, but it feels like something completely different. The wolves and sheep puzzle. Leighton? Or no, Leighton was wolves and chicks. Never mind. As I was sitting lazily on the sofa, no desire to watch TV, Maria came over, pulled a picture book out of her handbag, and held it out to me.
What? なんだよ、その本は。どれどれ?
Wolves and sheep puzzle. It was a phrase that Aunt Rosa had said this morning when we had gone on to call on Jessica. At the time, I hadn't known what it meant, and right after that was that uproar when Jessica's corpse was found, so I'd forgotten about it completely. The book that Maria held out to me looked like a foreign picture book or something that had been translated. When I opened it, I realized that it was a book stuffed with riddles.
何匹かの狼と羊よね。一台のボートを使って対岸まで連れてくパズルなの。
Oh, okay. So it is basically like the Leighton puzzle, just sheep instead of chicks. Okay.
ああ、そんなルールのゲームを聞いたことあるな。これはそれの狼と羊バージョンなのか。
It was a very simple puzzle, passed on from long ago. I hate that they fucking used simple. Because when we had to solve it during the Leighton arc, that shit had everybody confused. Literally, Toast was the one who finally got it. Let's try posing a question. On the right bank, there are 2 wolves and 2 sheep. There's a boat that as many as 2 animals can ride on, and using it, you have to move all 4 of them to the opposite left bank. Now, if it works the same way as Leighton, he's probably going to say that you can't have more wolves than sheep at any time on the left or right side of the bank, otherwise they'll eat them. I'm guessing that's what the catch is. That's the puzzle. There are 2 rules. Wait, what's this? Oh, right. You have to have at least 1 animal on the boat to move the boat. You have to have at least 1 animal. Even a single wolf or a single sheep can paddle it. Right. It can only hold 2 animals. That's right. The second rule is regarding the wolves. When they are greater in number than the sheep in any location, they attack the sheep and it's game over. Yep. Okay, I thought so. For example, at the start of the game, let's say the 2 sheep get in the boat and go to the other side. Then 1 sheep gets off, and the other goes back to the first bank. Okay, that's different. When it does, there are 2 wolves on the first bank and a single sheep returns there. Okay, at least the one in Leighton, both animals got off the boat. Like, they automatically got off the boat. Okay, so that's a little bit different. When that happens, the number of wolves is greater, so the sheep is attacked and it's game over. On either bank or even the boat, there must never be more wolves than sheep. Okay. Okay, so it's like pretty similar, except I guess both animals don't have to exit, only one can, or one minimum. You've got to shuttle them all across under those conditions. By the way, the right answer is to move both wolves to the opposite bank in the first turn. Then one wolf comes back. On the second turn, you move 2 sheep to the opposite bank. Then one wolf comes back. Then on the third turn, you put that last wolf that was on the right bank on the boat and cross to the opposite bank, and congratulations, transport successful. Okay. Partway, there may be the same number of wolves and sheep in the boat on either side, but that isn't a problem. You only lose when the number of wolves is greater. It's true. This book uses wolves and sheep as an example, but lots of people probably know this game using different characters. Yeah, Leighton had like baby chickens, but it's the same exact thing. It looked like Maria wanted to test whether I too could solve the puzzle she knew how to solve. And she kept showing me different pages saying, solve this one. This one's hard. So what was happening when Aunt Rosa first mentioned this puzzle? Ah. That's right. When we decided to go and get Jessica, we talked about how many men should go. And Aunt Rosa mentioned the wolves and sheep puzzle, saying we should all go together. That could only mean one thing. Aunt Rosa was saying that there was a wolf among us. So she was thinking it would be safe if the number of wolves and sheep was in balance, but that the wolves would bear their fangs if the situation changed. You know, at the time we found her parents' corpses, Aunt Rosa already suspected that the servants might be the wolves. She'd sniffed out the possibility that, while she didn't know whether it was all of them or some of them, there were wolves hiding among them. That's no surprise. The murder scene was very elaborate. It's easy to imagine that there were multiple culprits. I guess she'd reached that conclusion when we went to Jessica's room and learned that Jessica had been killed after being alone with the servant, Canyon. It isn't hard to imagine why Aunt Rosa suspected the servant so persistent.
使用人の皆さん、合田さんが食器を洗いに厨房に戻ります。念のためです。皆さんも同行してください。
皆さん、申し訳ありません。団体行動で参りましょう。
シャノン、熊沢。行くぞ。
行くぞ。
はいはい、ただいま。
それではジョージさん、一度失礼いたします。
うん。気をつけて。あ、ローザおばさん。僕も一緒に行っていいかな。
ごめんなさい。ジョージ君は残ってくれるかしら。ちょっとお話ししたいことがあるの。
What's that?
そうですか。シャノン、ごめん。とにかく気をつけて。一人にならないでね。
はい。
南條先生、すみません。ちょっとご相談が。
はい、何ですかな。
Servants put the dishes and empty cans on the serving cart and started to head out into the corridor. Behind them, Aunt Rosa was talking to Dr. Nanjo about something in a small voice.
わかりました。参りましょう。
ええ、よろしくお願いしますね。
Dr. Najo closed the book he had been reading, rose from the sofa, and followed after the servants. Rosa stuck her head out into the hallway, and after seeing that they were completely out of sight, she closed the door and spoke.
みんな聞いて。
So what's the big idea?
これで今ここにいるのは後宮の人間だけね。
Oh, okay.
確かにそうなりますね。狼を全部追い出したってことっすか？ローザおばさん。
With that one sentence, Aunt Rosa's gaze grew sharp. Apparently, she had picked up on that sarcasm. She laughed lightly.
バトラ君は頭の回転が速いのね。賢い子は好きよ。話が早いわ。
おお。バトラー、頭いい？これ解ける？ 64 ページの難しいの。
This is exactly how it happens in late. You speak to an NPC or somebody in this city, and they're like, "Can you solve this?" And it's like, "Oh, puzzle number 64. It's for 20 picarats or whatever." It's like exactly how that happens.
おお。
マリアは少しの間テレビを見ていなさい。ママはバトラ君たちとお話があるの。
おお。
ローザおばさん、パズルの話はバトラ君に聞いたよ。用心深いのは悪いことじゃないと思うけど、さすがに疑り深すぎるのもどうかと思うよ。
真の犯人がベアトリーチェかどうかは別にして、少なくとも使用人たちがその一味であることを疑うことはできると思うの。兄さんたちが殺されていた最初の殺人、とても残酷な仕打ちがされていたわよね。あれが一人でできる真似に見える。
謎の来客、ベアトリーチェ様が夜鍋をしてチクチクやったのかもしれねえぜ。
I mean, technically, yeah. I would think so. Assuming that they all get poisoned at the same time and all die at the same time. Because I'm pretty sure like the guts being opened and filled with candy and all that was post-mortem. At least I'd like to believe it was post.
ジェシカちゃんの部屋の扉をめぐるマスターキンの件は
This was a little different.
使用人の誰かが関わっている証拠じゃない。
Didn't Battler prove this? Only the master's key could have locked the door to Jessica's room. So we can only suppose that one of the servants did it. No. Wait. Oh, wait, no. Okay, they didn't figure out who did it, that's right. He only proved that it couldn't have been canon. That's what it was. He just proved that they could have been canon. They could not have been canon.
チェス盤をひっくり返すぜ。おかしいよ、ローザおばさん。なんで犯人はジェシカを殺した後、わざわざ施錠したんだ？施錠すればマスターキーの持ち主が疑われるのは必然。わざわざ施錠する必要がないぜ。そうだよ。バトラ君の言う通りだ。わざわざ疑われるようなことをする理由がない。
うん。それは面白い考えよね。もちろん、私もそれは考えた。だとしたら、施錠した人物は 使用人を疑わせたくてマスターキーなしであの扉を閉めた。でもそれは不可能でしょ。
That's right. If there existed some trick that could lock the door without a master key, that would make this a great disguise for casting doubt on servants. If the culprit's goal was for us to isolate ourselves from the group so they could attack us one by one, this trick would also be effective at giving rise to paranoia. But there was no way to lock that door without using a master's key.
マスターキーを使わずに閉める方法がないなんてどうして言い切れるの？
Well, that's because Beatrice said it in red text, but I mean, obviously she doesn't do that.
ルドルフ兄さんの言っていた悪魔の証明になるんじゃない？私たちには想像もつかない方法で閉められたのかもしれない。私たちに思いつかないからといって未知のトリックがあることを否定することにはならない。
そりゃそうだけどよ。つまりあれか、疑わしきは黒ってわけなのか。
具体的なトリックはわからないけれど、それでも外角はわかるの。
And what would that be?
申し訳ないけど、カノン君を犯人だと仮定すると非常に簡単に説明できる。
We literally spent like what, a good like 10 minutes or so of him explaining how it couldn't have been canon, and she wants to bring him back. We went over this last time we were here. Just drop it.
死体がない理由までね。
だってカノン君はマスターキーを持ってなかったんですよ。
Went over this.
他の使用人ならともかくカノン君にだけは施錠はできなかったはず。
なるほど。それでローザおばさんはジェシカの部屋に入って早々に俺たちにクローゼットなんかを探せと言い出したわけか。ローザおばさんこそ普段の様子から想像できるより頭の回転が速いな。
妹の頭の回転速度は常に姉マイナス1よ。
What does that even mean?
今は誰にも気を使う必要がないからせいせいするわ。
George Roniki realized she was referring to Aunt Eva. And seemed a little uncertain about how he should take that sarcasm. I'm gonna be honest, I think overall, between the two of them, Aunt Eva's smarter.
ごめん。
Like, maybe not by like leagues, but like just definitely smarter.
僕にも分かるように説明してほしいな。カノン君のマスターキーはジェシカちゃんのポケットに入って密室に閉じ込められていた。施錠した後に部屋の外からポケットに入れるなんて芸当は不可能なはず。
違うんだよ兄貴。ローザおばさんの想像しているやり方ならこのトリックはカノン君にしか使えない。
What trick?
そしてジェシカのポケットにマスターキーを入れたまま鍵なしで施錠することができる。そしてその結果として死体もなくなることになる。
どうやって？鍵なしでどうやって施錠するんだい？
簡単よ。ジョージ君だって帰宅したら施錠するでしょ。つまみをひねってカチリとね。
まさか カノン君の姿はどこにも。
兄貴にもピンときたみてえだな。ローザおばさんが室内を探したのはそういうことだ。内側から鍵を閉め、ジェシカのポケットに鍵を突っ込んだカノン君が、どこかに隠れて俺たちをやり過ごそうとしているのを探したんだ。
So, figuring out that he couldn't have had the master key on him, right, was not enough. It just simply was not enough for them, right? That it couldn't have been him with his master key all because they found it in Jessica's pocket. Now we want to bring him back up again. We bring him back up again. This guy who's already dead. And we're saying that he closed the room from the inside, put the master key in Jessica's pocket, and hid somewhere else in that room. Somewhere else. A closet. I don't know where. That's what we're going with? Even though they literally searched her entire room? I'm pretty sure she already told them to do that. He wasn't there. He's just not fucking there. This is ridiculous, man. This is the most wildest fucking form of copium, bro. It was the simplest kind of closed room trick. Meant him hiding inside the closed room after the murder was committed. Then, all he had to do was get out after those who discovered the body left, and a closed room murder would work perfectly.
私たちはあの部屋を探したけれど、何も見つけられなかった。
That's right.
でも、だからといって、あの部屋に使用人たちしか知らない秘密の隠し通路のようなものがないとは言えない。
That's what we're going with. Okay. It's fucking... Well, okay. Alright, well, back to it. She's just spitballing ideas, because there's no other explanation right now. I get that. You know what? I guess I get that, and I understand. You gotta theorize something, right? Like, I know they don't just want to sit there with the thumbs up their asses waiting for the next murder. You know what? That's fair and they're understandable. I don't know. Like, where's the line between spitballing and copium? Where's the line between those two? You know? How much does it take? How far do you have to go?
それがどこに隠されていたかはわからないけれど、その隠し通路を仮定し推理することで彼しかありえないと断言できるのよ。
その推理はよ。
Break it down for me.
俺も一番最初に考えた。一番嫌な推理だが、一番最初にその可能性を潰したかった。
カノンはこの部屋で殺された。であろう?
Not only that, but she said in red text too in the last episode that the only way in and out of that room was the door. I'm 99% sure she said that.
そなたはカノンが犯人であると疑いそうになったため、真っ先にその可能性を潰すために これを復唱させたのだ。わかっておるわかっておる。
だからその次に考えたのはこうだった。
Okay.
あの部屋にいたのは実は3人だったという説だ。
3 people?
ジェシカとカノン君は被害者。
There was a lot more than 3, but alright, let's see where he's going.
そして犯人である来客ベアトリーチェも一緒にいたという考えだ。
そなたは人間であるわらわが魔法を使わずに犯行を行ったことにしたいのだったな。
Kinda?
なるほど。そなたにぴったりの陳説であるぞ。
お前は2人を殺し、内側から施錠した。そしてカノン君の死体を担いで普通の人は気づかない秘密の方法。つまり隠し扉を使って部屋から脱出したんだと読んだ。しかしお前に赤で言われちまった。あの部屋に隠し扉の類はないってな。
That's right.
うん。お前たちの知らない秘密の通路は存在せぬぞ。ノックスだったかバンダインだったか。何でもミステリーには秘密の通路があってはいけないらしい。そのお作法にわらわも従ったということよ。つまり名探偵は部屋を調べ尽くさずして隠し通路がないと断言できるわけだ。人間の推理ごっことはなんとお気楽なものよの。
クソ、でけえこと言いやがるぜ。ありがとよ。魔女様のお取り計らいのおかげで俺も部屋を探し尽くさずにあの部屋に隠し扉がないと断言できるぜ。
うん。この部屋に隠し扉はない。
Good. We have it here, right here now. Good.
扉と窓以外に出入りする方法はない。
I'm pretty sure the window was also locked.
ってことはよ、今ローザおばさんがぶってる自信満々の仮説は間違ってるってわけだ。
Yeah, but I mean, we're not really surprised.
しかも悔しいことにこの仮説は反証不能だ。魔女のお前は赤で。
That's what I'm saying, dude. I'm sitting here saying that.
隠し扉はないと断言すればそれで決着する。しかし人間の俺はローザおばさんにそれを反論しても受け入れられないだろう。
Stubborn.
隠し扉がないことを人間は証明できない。
Where's that Ariamas that said he could fix her?
悪魔の証明になっちまう。くそ。魔女ってのは便利だな。
そんな。あるかないかもわからない隠し扉を理由にカノン君を犯人呼ばわりするなんて僕は納得できないな。
I can't either.
納得できないならより納得できる推理を聞かせて。
You don't have to. You just gotta go find actual concrete evidence. How about you go find that instead of theorizing?
ないのよ。私はずっと考えてる。 これしかないのよ。ジョージ君はシャノンちゃんと仲が良かったわね。だから使用人全員が犯人であることは受け入れがたいと思うの。
I think anyone with a heart would just agree with George. I'm gonna be honest.
私もシャノンちゃんが犯人の一味であるなんて信じたくない。でも全員であるか否かはともかく、確実にあの中に犯人もしくは共犯がいるのよ。それだけは見誤っちゃダメ。
カノン君以外にも狼がいると見てたんだな。ジェシカの部屋で犯人はカノン君だと大騒ぎしたのは使用人たちの反応を見るためだったっていうのか。
ええ、そうよ。そしてその結果、私は一層の疑いを持つに至ったわ。確実に使用人の中に狼がいる。確実にね。そして狼と羊のパズルのように普段はおとなしくしているけれど、チャンスがあったら襲ってくるに違いないの。ジェシカちゃんは一人で船に乗った羊よ。あのパズルでは頭数の時は襲ってこないけど、私たちのパズルは違う。チャンスと人数次第なら頭数でも襲ってくる。ジェシカちゃんが殺されたように。
僕は怒りたいことがある。じゃあ厨房へ行かされてるシャノンは危険な状態じゃないか。今すぐ僕たちも厨房へ行くべきだ。誰が狼だろうと狼でなかろうと、僕たち全員が揃っていれば均衡するならそれを保ち続けるべきだと思う。
シャノンちゃんはお父様のところへ源氏さんと一緒に行った。その時に孤立したはずなのに殺されなかった。源氏さんも狼ではないから。違うわ、二人とも狼だったからよ。
Oh my god. I'm starting to have it up to here with you.
シャノンは悪事の片棒を担ぐような人じゃない。いくらローザおばさんでもそれは聞き流せません。
You tell her.
今の発言に対し僕は取り消しを要求します。
I demand it.
兄貴の前で悪いが、その論法エヴァおばさんの雰囲気にそっくりだな。こっちが反論できなきゃ自動的に自分が正しいみたいな。やっぱり血は争えないな、おばさん。
私だって今の自分はあまり褒められたものじゃないとは思ってる。でもね、私は母なの。
Yeah, an abusive one. I wouldn't use that. I wouldn't stand on that ground, I'll be honest. You haven't been a good one. You've been a shitty one.
マリアの無事を守るためなら鬼にもなるわ。
Why do I feel like it's slight foreshadowing? Like that specifically is going to happen. And actually, you know what? It's that's probably too loud. It's too loud.
本当ならマリアと二人きりでどこかに閉じこもっていたいくらいよ。でも私は同時にあなたたちの母でもあるつもりなの。 今やあなたたちは私の子供も同然。私は自分の子じゃないからといってあなたたちを見捨てたりしない。絶対。
そりゃどうも。
私はあなたたちの母として油断しないでと警告したかっただけなの。常に私の目の届くところにいて、私があなたたちを守ってあげる。
ついでに俺たちが狼でないことも監視してくれるってわけだ。そりゃありがたいぜ。そういうおばさんは自分が狼ではないって証明はできるのかよ。
ええ、できるわ。
即答っすね。どうやって？
これよ。
Did she just pull out the gun?
これが証拠よ。
Yeah, okay. Rosa lifted her gun and pointed the barrel at me. But it was only for an instant. She immediately lowered the gun, laughing impishly. Yeah, it's really fucking funny, huh? Fake pointing a real gun at someone that's loaded. Yeah, that's really funny. That's hilarious. Having a live loaded gun pointed at you. I never would have let that shit go. I'm just saying right now. Me personally, I would never have let that go. I love how happy she looked. Yeah, it's so funny. Right, laughing impishly at this, like just literally just in his fucking face, and then smiling, happy, laughing it off like that. Like, hello? Do I need any more reasons as to why she's the last individual here to be holding a gun? Do I need to explain any more? Like you can't make this up. But to me, the time I spent staring down the barrel of that gun felt like an eternity.
その銃がどうローザおばさんが犯人でないことを証明すると言うんですか？
Oh yeah, and on top of that, what the fuck did that even mean?
考えてもみて。私が犯人だったらどう？使用人たちが出ていったこの千載一遇の機会を逃すと思う？あなたたちをズドンと撃って、あとは適当な言い訳をするだけよ。窓の外にベアトリーチェが現れて銃を撃ってきたとかね。私は2発を撃ち返したと称して2発分の空薬莢を床に捨てればいい。
そりゃすげえ乱暴な理論だが確かに一理あるぜ。
In what fucking world?
クラウス兄さんが昔よく言ってたわ。力こそ正義ってね。これがまさにそうなのかしら。ごめんなさいね、二人とも。
Saying, what a bitch slapped the shit out of you and pulled that on me.
私も今朝からの事件続きでかなり冷静さを失ってる。普段の私を知る二人から見れば、今の私は余裕がなくて少し短気そうに見えるかもしれない。でも分かって。私は悪意ある犯人からあなたたちを守りたい。そのためには鬼になる。
Okay, they said it twice now. Now I really do feel like something like that is actually going to happen.
それだけのことなの。怒らせるようなことを言ってごめんなさいね。バトラー君、ジョージ君。 仲直りしましょう。
An unsatisfied expression rose to Jordaneki's face. I don't blame him. He probably couldn't forgive the damage done to Shannon's honor. Yep. That's correct. What about me? Several bits of circumstantial evidence hinted at the servant's participation. I want to believe that one of them was the culprit, possibly colluding with the culprit. But in our current situation, that was a little more than wishful thinking. Whom should I believe? In the first place, who is the culprit? Are there accomplices? And if so, how many? It seems like only been suspecting the people we know. I quickly forgot the 19th person, the guest, Beatrice, who arrived yesterday and boldly claimed to be the Golden Witch. In fact, I still haven't seen her face. I heard she greatly resembled the witch in that portrait. But since I haven't seen her directly, no matter how hard I try, it doesn't really feel to me like a 19th person is on this island. So I've been subconsciously hallucinating that the culprit's one of the 18. Damn it. Come out, Beatrice. If you're the bad guy, then act like the bad guy and show yourself, laughing in a high-pitched voice and mocking us. Just like a bad guy in one of those dramas who, even if they're exposed to the culprit, aggressively says, "Where's your proof?"
証拠は終わりかの？
うっせえ。てめえはしばらく黙ったろ。
Should be time for the servants to come back now, right? All they had to do was wash dishes or something, wasn't it? There were 5 humans in the kitchen, but it was very quiet, filled only with the sound of the rain. It was only accented by the sound of Shannon and Kumasawa-san are washing the dishes. Goto was using the leftovers from breakfast and lunch as ingredients for a soup. Soup. Rosa has suspected that poison might have been added to the food, so they decided to eat canned goods, but hadn't been too satisfied. Pagoda thought she was being too cautious, so he was spontaneously creating a soup to be served only to those who wanted some. Shannon and Kumasawa were washing the dishes that the food had been arranged on. On the inside, they thought maybe Goto should wash them, since he'd been the one who wanted the food arranged on the plates in the first place. Yeah, that's a good point. But they left their complaints unsaid for the time being. Genji and Nacho were facing each other across a crude chess set that had many years of experience. The game had still only just begun. Because the opening game of these experienced players had been honed to perfection, it looked like a ceremony where they had just moved specific pieces in a specified order. Actually, you know, speaking of chess, thinking about chess, when was the last time we checked up on Kinza? Have we really not seen him since he was, like, writing up the will?
良い匂いですね。やはり缶詰ではこうはいきませんね。
開封した食材だけで作りましたので、毒が混入しているなんてことはありませんよ。皆さんの分もお作りしていますので、ぜひ食べましょう。もちろん私もお毒にしますよ。安心して召し上がってください。
本当にいい匂いですね。合田さんのまかない料理は本当に美味しいです。
美味しい材料を買ってきて、美味しい料理が作れるのは当たり前です。私は師匠にあり合わせのもので美味しく作るまかない料理を極めてこそ真の料理人だと習いました。
それはいい師匠でしたな。 おかげで私はとても美味しいスープをごちそうになれそうです。親族の皆様にお召し上がりいただくための材料で作ることになってしまったのは残念です。ローザさんも朝からのいろいろでお疲れなのでしょう。無理もないことです。
でもそのおかげで美味しい食材のスープが飲めるのですからね。
Rosa had fervently warned everyone that they didn't understand the danger that they were in. That they must assume that poison was mixed in with the food. You know, the mood at the time had led them to agree, but hunger wasn't something that could be swayed by a momentary emotion.
皮肉にも普段の私たちではとても味わえないスープとなりました。できるなら客間の皆さんにもぜひ振る舞いたいところなのですが。
ローザ様のご指示に背いている以上、よした方がいいだろう。飲みたいものだけ飲むといい。
見えないところで上手に息抜きするのも使用人の心得でございますものね。
When Kumasawa cackled, Shannon and Goda laughed too. It seemed that in this space, where only their fellow servants were gathered, they could relax quite a bit. Shannon didn't like Goda's occasional dishonesty, but she knew that there was no falsehood in his childish smile when he cooked, nor in his desire for people to enjoy his food. So even though it was a little aggravating to be made to wash the dishes, she couldn't really hate him. However, they couldn't have dreamed that Rosa was calling them wolves in the pirate parlor at this exact same moment that they were spending their time peacefully like this. Now, that's a weird jump cut. Oh. At the time, several of the servants heard a sound like something being dragged and then a thump. Seemed like the sound made by a servant outside the back door when they were carrying a mountain of trash bags on a rainy day. Maybe when a servant was returning from work wearing a raincoat. So at first that sound didn't seem like anything out of the ordinary to any of them. But they soon realized... Ooh. Right now everyone was either in the kitchen or in the parlor, so who could possibly be at the back door? As the servants all looked at each other, they checked to make sure that each one of them knew what that sound meant. The servants knew the mansion's layout well, so they understood how incomprehensible it would be for someone from the parlor to actually go outside in this typhoon, go all the way around, and come up to this back door. Then, was it Kenzo? Couldn't imagine that Kenzo, who never left his study, would dash out into the middle of this typhoon and come to the back of the house where only low-class people ever entered or exited. Low-class people. Or maybe it was Beatrix, the 19th person. Shannon and Kumasawa drew close together, fearfully looking at the back door.
どちら様ですか?
As Goda fearfully approached the back door, he called out. His eyes flashed towards the butcher's knife that sat in a nearby sink. He didn't pick it up yet, because there was still a possibility that this was a member of the family. However, that possibility was impossible. There was no response from across the door to Goda's initial question. Maybe his voice had been so quiet that it hadn't reached through the wind and rain outside.
源氏さん、
南條先生と女たちは下がって。一体どなたなんですかな。
I'm sure this will be something completely explainable. Genji took a knife with a classical design from a stationery box placed near the chest. It was something to be used instead of a paper knife to open envelopes, statements of delivery and bills. But it was still a knife. So the blade on it could injure someone. Genji hit it in his sleeve with a well-practiced motion. Then he approached the back door himself, giving Goda a silent nod. Goda cautiously approached the back door and slowly started to open it. Is it gonna be like a branch from a tree? Just hit the door. That's not good. Okay, if everybody's in the parlor and the servants are in the kitchen, that literally only could be Kinzo. The shadow of a person suddenly shuffled into sight, landed on his knees, and fell over. Goda fell backwards onto his backside and couldn't get up. There's no way. That human shadow was soaked with rain, smeared with mud, and drenched with blood. Oh, shit, that's right. Of course it's not Kenzo's. The corpse they never found in Jessica's room. That's right. That's right. I should have expected that, actually. I thought she made his corpse disappear, though.
カノン、大丈夫か。南條先生。
It was Cannon. His breath was feeble, and the puddles of mud he left were quickly drenched bright red. Wait, hold on. When Nacho held him and turned him face up, there was a deep, gruesome wound right in the center of his chest, as though he had been stabbed there by a spear or something. Even now, deep red blood poured out from there.
これはひどいですよ。どうしましょう。救急箱ですか？救急箱ですか？
He's alive?
カノンさん、傷口に手を当てて。
Wait, what?
しっかり押さえてください。使用人室のベッドに運びましょう。皆さん、手を貸してください。
さあ、カノンさん。しばらく我慢してください。
しっかりして。もう大丈夫よ。だから傷口から手を離さないで。
とにかく使用人室へ運ぼう。熊沢ローザ様にカノンが見つかったことの報告を。
待って。
Oh, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. I mean, she literally specifically stated that she made his corpse disappear using magic or whatever after their deaths with the stakes of sin. I forget what they were. It was like two of them. But I thought he was dead. Like, confirmed dead at that time. They both died at the same time. He had a spirit, and he had like a ghost when they were standing in Jessica's. Like, I'm so confused. That doesn't make any sense. What?
ローザ様にはダメ。
待ってください。カノンさんがローザ様にはダメだと言っています。
どういう意味なの、カノン君。
今はいい。早くシオニー室へ運ぼう。熊沢、ローザ様にはまだお伝えするな。カノンに事情を聞いてからにする。
Good.
はい。
He had told them not to tell Rosa right after appearing in this state. This could only mean something very disquieting. An eerie anxiety rose to their faces.
さあ皆さん、急いで運びましょう。早く早く。
Cannon's wound was unbelievably deep. And judging from Nanjo's pale face, it was a miracle that he was still conscious.
これはひどい。何か槍のようなもので刺されたようです。肺まで届いてなければなんとか持つかも。とにかく止血を。
No matter how much Nanjo tried to wipe off that gushing deep red blood, he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it. He couldn't wipe it all away. Okay. That confused my brain for a second. Each time the wound was aggravated, Kazan continued to cry in anguish.
カノン君、カノン君、カノン君。しっかりして。しっかりして。
南條先生、火炎のタオルです。なんてむごい。
容体はどうですか。本音を言うと生きているのが信じられん深手だ。
I'm saying too. I'm pretty sure he was dead. I mean, again, there were so many signs, and I thought Beatrice confirmed him dead. To be alive this entire time?
刺されどころが幸運だったのかもしれん。だが出血がひどすぎる。輸血が必要だが明日まで無理だ。
ローザ様が僕たちを。
喋らないで、カノン君。傷口が開いちゃ
う。ローザ様がやってきて。お嬢様とは。僕は。
なんですって。
ローザ様が ですか？おお、そんなことって。
Okay, but when?
間違いないのか？
はい、間違いなくローザ様でした。
さあ、もう喋らないで。熊沢さん、もう一つの救急箱を取ってください。
Is this just Beatrice's way of fucking with them? Like, did she throw this wrench in the plans, like, on purpose, just to see drama and shit? That's the only thing I can believe here. Other than the fact that he's somehow still fucking alive this whole time.
ローザ様がなんてことはあり得るのでしょうか？
わからん。
Disregarding Nanjo and Kumasawa, who were struggling hard and stained with blood as they tried to stop the bleeding, Genji and Goda faced each other. Because if what Kanon had said was the truth, Rosa was the culprit who killed Jessica. See, now we're jumping to conclude. Oh, you know what? You know, now I think about it, if I remember correctly, I think it was Rosa actually that killed them. No, yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right, actually. Yeah. It was Rosa. That's right. Yep. Yeah, it was Rosa. I can't believe it either. Damn, what a shame. It was Rosa all along. Shit, man. Unfortunate. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Kanon screamed even more hatefully. His hate-filled voice made it seem like he was seeing Jessica being harmed right before his eyes.
確かにローザ様がお嬢様を殺す理由はあるかもしれない。後ろ宮家が全滅すれば遺産は全てローザ様のもの。だとしたらバトラー様やジョージ様も危険なのでは。ローザ様は銃を持っている上に今客間には彼らしかいない。源氏さん、これはかなりまずいことでは。
Shannon suddenly ran out into the corridor. Her expression was complex and tragic, as though she didn't know what to believe. Shannon ran. To where? The inside of the mansion had been scrupulously clean, so it probably wouldn't be easy to find. She might find it if she searched the rose garden. They'd probably all been lost in the wind and rain. That's right. The boiler room isn't cleaned very often. If she went there, she might be able to find it. Shannon ran downstairs to find that in the underground boiler room. Did some medicine take effect at the brink of death? Or was Cannon finally beyond feeling pain? For the time being, at least Cannon's painful gasping has subsided. Nacho apparently didn't view this as a very good sign, and he didn't let his eyes off Cannon for a second. Kumasawa firmly gripped Cannon's hand and kept encouraging him, so that the willpower keeping him alive didn't fade away. Genji and Goda seemed uncertain how to respond to the truth Cannon had risked his life to deliver.
ローザ様の銃は 確か4発か5発の弾が込められたはずだ。
Okay, thinking it out, right?
決して少ない数ではないですね。
That's 2 for the Ushiromias, and then assuming it's 4, that's 2 more for, I don't know, maybe Genji and Goda, since they're like the kind of capable, strong guys. If it's 5, then maybe 1 more for Shannon. I guess it's just another capable hand.
でもあの銃は弾の装填に結構な慣れが必要だったはず。
Especially since it's a lever action.
一発目は撃たせてしまうかもしれませんが、みんなで襲いかかれば次を撃たせずに銃を奪い取れるかも。
この島には医者はいても薬はなく、病院もない。撃たれどころが悪ければ死ぬぞ。
それは分かっていますが、それより早く行動を起こさないとまた次の事件が起こる可能性も。私たちはローザ様にうまく追い出された気がします。今頃ジョージ様やバトラ様が殺されている可能性も。
そんな危険な相手なら無理に刺激しない方がいいんじゃありませんか。
しかし明日までは長い。どんな手を打ってくるか想像もつきませんよ。源氏さん、こちらから仕掛けるべきです。せめて10歳理由をこじつけて奪えばなんとかなるかも。
弾は4、5発じゃありませんか。ということは私たち全員を殺すには足りないということです。うかつに刺激しなければきっとローザ様もむやみには。
あいつは言ったよ。
Oh?
僕たちを皆殺しにすると言った。
This has to just be the work of Beatrice. Okay. I think he genuinely actually did die, but I think that this is like Beatrice just reanimating his corpse or something like that and tossing him back in just to fuck with them. Yeah, just for drama's sake. I genuinely believe that is something that she would do. Because, come on. I want Rosa gone, right? I do. Trust me and believe me, I do. But I want her gone in, like, the right way. I wish it would be done in, like, the right way. Normally as a sacrifice of one of the Twilights. But, and you know what? What happens is what happens. That's what happens at this point. Kanan, who they thought was sleeping quietly, suddenly started talking brightly. Almost as though he'd been awake this whole time, and suddenly opened his mouth. Kanan looked firm, steady, which relieved Nanjo a bit, but considering the depth of that wound, he couldn't wipe away a certain creepy feeling. He knew because he was a doctor. And after losing so much blood, Kanan might easily have lost consciousness. And yet, somehow, he was still intensely aware of his surroundings. Yeah, it's almost as if it's not like the real Kanan or something. Was it youth? Was it tenacity? Sometimes the power of the human life surpassed common knowledge. While stopping the bleeding, Nanjo had groped around a bit inside the bleeding hole with tweezers, making sure that there were no foreign objects inside the infected area. and the great depth of the wound, it shocked him. It had certainly reached as far as his lungs, and yet, no. But the fact that he's still alive is wonderful. But Canon had spoken clearly. He hatefully stated that the one named Rosa made his wound, cursing and raging over and over and over.
あいつは親方様の財産を独り占めするために台風が過ぎ去るまでにどんな手を使って皆殺しにする気なんだ。
I was right. I was right. It's literally right there. It's proof right there. Okay. I was right. It's a good one, Beatrice. It's a good one. I'll give you that.
くそ。なんて人だ。源氏さん、どうしましょう。私たちにも何か武器がいるのでは。
How the hell is this gonna go down?
にわかには信じられん。ローザ様がそのようなことを。
源氏様、信じる信じないじゃない。あいつが僕にそう言ったんですよ。
Don't you believe the possessed canon? Why would he lie to you?
この僕が聞いたんです。どうして信じてくれないんですか？
起きないで。傷に触ります。
Canon sat up on the bed, speaking to Genji, who didn't seem to be willing to believe Canon's story.
あいつは僕たちを必ず全員殺す。もうきっと客間の方々も殺されているに違いありません。僕らが先に殺さなければ必ず僕らが先に殺される。僕が先に殺されたようにみんなも先に殺される。殺さなきゃ殺される。
He said killed. Like in the sense that he literally was dead, he did die, and is brought back to life.
殺さなきゃ殺される。殺さなきゃ殺される。
カノンさん、あんた本当に痛くないのか？
ああ、これですか。大した傷じゃありません。
大した傷じゃないどころか、あんたは
本当に大したことありません。こんなのもう全然痛くないし、本当に大した傷じゃない。
As Kenneth said that, he began to untie the bandages that had been painstakingly wrapped. The gruesome hole in his chest was immediately exposed.
カノンさん、そんなことをしてはダメですよ。早く横になって。
大丈夫ですって。ほらねえ、大した傷じゃないでしょ。
Kanan showed off his gaping wound, which was still slowly spitting out foamy blood. Everyone averted their eyes reflexively.
ほら、全然大した傷じゃないですって。
Oh god. I don't like the description of foamy blood. That's gross.
やめなさい。傷をいじってはいけません。
ほら、見て。全然深い傷じゃないんですよ。ほら。ほら。
Kanan held up 2 fingers, showed them to everyone, and slowly started to stick them into the gruesome wound in the center of his chest. Plunging. Slimy. Squishy and wet. The fingers went in deep, all the way to their bases. Squish, bloop, and bloop.
Kanon-san, やめて、やめて!
Those fingers were sticking all the way into his chest, up to their bases. And then he slowly pulled them out exactly the same way. The fingers he pulled out were stained a sticky, solid, deep red color, and there was even a thread hanging. Oh my. Okay. That is so gross. But the fingers were covered up to their bases in deep red. I really hope it's not this descriptive in the anime. I don't even know if they show this part in the anime or not, but I really fucking hope not. This just sounds like horrible.
Ne. 全然大した傷じゃないでしょ。
The adaptation is heavy trash, unfortunately. Yeah, it is. Kind of impossible to adapt this into an anime. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. You know, I don't expect much from the anime. I was just curious if they even visually showed this scene or not. But you know what? I don't even trust them to do that. I just don't trust them to adapt it well. What anime, honestly? What even anime? At that moment, the door was slammed open. Shannon appeared. Even after she saw Cannon stained with fresh blood, her impregnable expression, it didn't falter.
やあ、姉さん。
Yeah?
どこへ行っていたの？僕が既得だというのに、一体どこへ？
ボイラー室に行ってきたの。探し物があって、それより確かめたいの。あなたは本当にカノン君。
Supposedly natural. Everyone believed he was canon, so they couldn't understand the meaning of Shannon's question. When they looked, they noticed that Shannon was holding a handkerchief in her hand. It was filthy and looked like it had been used to wipe up some trash or dust. And while holding it, she approached Cannon, drawing closer to his feet.
なんだい、それは。
雲の巣を拭き取ったハンカチよ。
What does that mean?
なんでそんなものを。
カノン君なら平気だろうけど、もしあなたにとって雲が天敵だったなら嫌うかなって思って。
If spiders are your natural enemy? What?
やだな。僕がどうして雲を嫌うの？
ごめん、試すね。
シャノンさん。
Oh! When Shannon brought that handkerchief close to Kanan's thigh, something happened in an instant. It happened all at once. The human eye couldn't have followed it. Kanan jumped like a wild goat, fleeing from the thing that Shannon was holding. Then, from his arm, some kind of afterglow flashed purple and drew a curve through space. That arc, which drew 3 beautiful purple curves, traced across the throats of Nanjo and Kumasawa, who had been tending to him. Oh. And in an instant, Nanjo's and Kumasawa's throats opened like gaping mouths. And then the blood really started spewing out. Like that? The third purple curve could have traced across Shannon's throat. But Shannon wasn't there. Because Genji, who had been behind her, had wrapped his own arm around Shannon's neck and pulled her back. This all happened in an instant. And the instant it took Goto to think fast in an attempt to understand this scene, the frozen moment in time shattered. Oh shit. Beaches, what the fuck did you do? Oh no, it's this theme. Kanan jumped and kicked off a picture frame that had been hanging from the wall behind him, springing forward just like a cat and aiming for Shannon's throat again. But Kanan's target once again disappeared from him, in front of him. Because Genji had pulled Shannon again, and the two of them had fallen to the ground in a defensive crouch. Fuck, dude! Now's not the time! Damn it. Okay.
いい反射神経だ。この老いぼれ家具が。
5だ。
So we lost Nanjo and Kumasawa. Hit. Even Goto was a fool. Even if he couldn't fully understand what was going on, he at least realized that if this cannon wasn't seized, his own life would also be in peril. He sprung at Cannon with his huge body, pushing him up against the wall with all his weight and physical strength. Oh shit, is he doing it? Badass! Shit. Demon Cannon is not happy. Another purple curve was drawn from the tips of his fingers on Cannon's right hand. Oh god. And when he raised that hand like a sword, aiming for Goto's back, there was a loud thunk. Because Cannon's raised hand had been pinned to the wall. He couldn't tear his palm away from the wall. Sticking out from it was the knife Genji had thrown. Ooh! Good move. Under normal circumstances, it would have been surprising to see someone as old as Genji handle a knife so skillfully. But in this abnormal space, no one paid it much mind.
Genji-sama, これを。
Genji took the handkerchief with the spiderweb stuck to it from Shannon. And he approached Cannon, who was pinned to the wall by Goto's massive body and a knife. Why are spiders the natural enemy of him? And how did Shannon know that?
やめろ。やめ。
What is happening? When Genji pushed the handkerchief up against Cannon's face, there was a sound just like setting meat on a red-hot iron plate. Of course, the smell's the same too. As he was horribly burned, festering in filthy red and black, crying out in his death throes, Cannon's body burst open and scattered. It was almost as though a balloon filled with golden leaf had popped. The entire servant room was completely buried under a storm of gold leaf. No, a cloud of gold butterflies. Those butterflies began to softly fade as though into water, or rather into empty air itself. And afterwards, all that was left was the 3 survivors on their butts, stained with blood. However, not everyone was merely stained with blood. Some of them were lying on the ground, spurting out blood themselves. Can they even be saved? Usually a cut to the jugular is like death. Slits so sharp they looked like they'd cut your finger if you touched them open wide. Large amounts of blood kept pouring out.
何だったんだ。いや、今のは。
ゴーダ、怪我はないか。
私は大丈夫です。しかし、私たちは何を見たんだ。何があったんです。私はあれを確かにこの手でこの壁に押し付けていたのに。
See, appropriate reactions.
その私が何があったのか理解できない。
Goda looked at his own hand. The bright red blood left from this scuffle with Cannon definitely remained. And yet Cannon was nowhere to be seen, because he had disappeared. He transformed into gold butterflies and scattered. Goda kept screaming alone, without a clue about what was going on. Ooh. Died in the servant room. Oh, it's confirmed. His throat sliced open by a sharp blade or something similar. Already this alone wasn't enough. Also died. Okay. The finishing touches are yet to come. Interesting. So I'm not crazy. I thought so. The witch said so in red, and he definitely was dead. Dude, what the fuck is going on? Shannon sobbed in front of Nanjo and Kumasawa's remains, as Genji watched over, silent as always. Rest in peace. Okay! That was, Jesus Christ. I never would have expected or guessed any of that just now. What the fuck just happened? What happened to Cannon's corpse between when he officially died and just now? What was he made out of that makes him weak to spiders? How the hell did Shannon just know that and figure that out too, by the way? Like, what? And then why Nanjo and Kumasawa-san specifically? I have too many questions. I have too many questions.
一体どういうことなの？
ああ、シャノン、無事でよかった。君に何かあったら僕は。
庄司様。
ジョージ君、少し静かにして。あなたたちの目の前で殺人が行われたんでしょ。犯人を見たの？見ないの？
それがその何と説明すればいいのか。源氏さん、
私たちの見たものをうまく説明できません。
確かにそれは私たちの目の前で起こりました。私の目の前にいた。だけれどあれは何だったんだ。私にもわからないんです。
何を言ってるの？あなたが出会ったのは昨夜から所在不明の魔女ベアトリーチェか？行方不明になっているカノン君かのどちらかしかありえない。男か女か、それだけでも答えられるでしょう。
ローザおばちゃん、少し落ち着けって。目の前で2人やられりゃ誰だって混乱だってする。ゴダさん、源氏さん、焦らなくていいぜ。何があったのか順を追って話してくれ。
それが何を私は言えばいいのか。
Dr. Nanjo and Kumasawa-san had been killed. We understood that much. And it seemed like it had occurred in front of these people's eyes. But even so, they spoke awkwardly. They admitted that they had definitely seen the crime with their own eyes. But when asked to explain what they had seen, their mouths went suddenly shut. I could understand why Aunt Rosa was irritating and flaring up.
シャノン、君は見たのかい？南條先生が襲われるところ。
はい。
僕に教えて。分かることだけでもいい。一体何があったの？
勝手口に来たんです。
そうです。勝手口に誰かがやってきたんです。そして誰だろうと私は扉を開けました。
勝手口に誰か？それは誰？
最後まで言わせてやれ。それから
そいつは血まみれで大怪我をしていました。私たちは使用人室に運び、すぐに南條先生が手当てをしました。とても深い傷でした。
だからそれは誰のことなの？
わからないんです。確かに最初はそうだと思っていました。 いや、今でもそうだと思ってるんです。でもあれは一体。
Why isn't he saying his name?
わからない。わからない。
Like, you can at least say who it looks like. But for some reason, he's just not going to say the name. In a manner that didn't match his large body, Goda held his head and scratched at it. I didn't have a clue if he was confused because he couldn't remember, or because he had seen something terrifying and couldn't accept it. And Shannon looked the same way. If she let her guard down, what she had seen just a short while ago would quickly melt away like a daydream. And she wouldn't be able to remember anything. That's what she looked like. Only Genji looked composed as usual. So the questions were naturally directed at him. However, even Genji took quite some time before he spoke, and he had to gather his thoughts.
源氏さん、あなたは見たんでしょう。勝手口に来たのは誰？
はじめ、私たちはその人物がカノンであると信じました。
ほら！
Maybe this is why they didn't say anything.
やっぱり生きていたでしょ。私の推理は正しかった。
はじめはってことは、後にその認識は変わるってこと？
はい。その後に起こったことは口では説明できません。南條先生と熊沢を殺し、そして姿を消しました。その時、彼は間違いなくカノンではありませんでした。
そうなんです。源氏さんの言う通りなんですよ。口ではとても説明できない。
君も同じ意見なのかい？
はい。私も同じことしか申し上げられません。
If we give their claims the benefit of the doubt, it means that Aunt Rosa's first conclusion was correct. Ken had appeared near the back doors to the kitchen with a serious injury. Then he had been taken to the servant room and cared for. And after that, something terrifying had happened. So, were these people so convinced that Ken and couldn't have possibly done such a thing that they started to suspect whether it had even been Ken and Kun after all? In other words, that means Ken and Kun did appear. No matter how confused they are, no matter how they muddle their words, that's what it means in the end. So, does that mean, after all, Ken used some trick to escape that room, even though it was locked? Oh, that doesn't matter anymore. The real problem is that Dr. Najo and Kumasawa were killed. Aunt Rosa's claimed that Ken and Kun was behind this from the very beginning. No matter how confused these people are, no matter how much they try to deny it, they're halfway confirming that she was right. But even so, for some reason, I felt like their awkwardness couldn't be explained by confusion alone. What did they see? Like they said, they really see something that couldn't be explained with words? Aunt Rosa, who decided that further talk wouldn't get us anywhere, concluded her questioning and said that she wanted to check the two bodies. That was something I'd been wanting to do too. The witnesses had been unable to figure out anything, but they'd been shaken. If those of us that hadn't been at the scene calmly looked at the corpses, we might find something. It was a little surprising to learn that Aunt Rosa was also concerned about the bodies. You know, even at this point, I still wanted to use any clues I could find to expose the culprit and the truth myself. It should have been different in Aunt Rosa's case. Hasn't Aunt Rosa prioritized staying safe over finding the culprit? I couldn't really see why she would go through all the trouble of leaving our barricade in the parlor just because she wanted to check the bodies.
みんなで一緒に使用人室に行きます。全員一緒に行動すれば安全よ。マリア、落書き遊びはおしまいになさい。
おお、落書きじゃない。ベアトリーチェの問題を解いてるの。おお。
ベアトリーチェの問題？何のことだよ。俺にも教えてくれよ。
ローザおばさん、マリアちゃんも連れて行くんですか？
It seemed that George Aniki was against the idea of bringing Maria to the bloody crime scene. But considering that Maria would be all alone if left here, it'd surely be much safer to take Maria with us. I got a feeling that she's gonna be alright. She'll be fine. She'll be fine. Ooh, what the hell is this? Oh. Okay. Alright. In the end, it was just Aniki's irresponsible humanism. We decided that all of us, including Maria, would go to the server room. The bed in the servant room was stained with bright red blood. No, not just the bed. The whole room was covered with a gruesome paint from countless bloodstains. That dreadful scene alone was enough to give us an idea of the repulsive sight they might have been trying to describe. I think you shouldn't.
マリアちゃんは僕と一緒にここで待ってようね。
George Aniki was standing by the entrance, covering Maria's eyes with his back to the room. He probably didn't want to dirty an innocent girl's retinas with the repulsive blood in this room. It's a good idea. It's smart. That was surely the correct decision. I was acting tough right now, so I didn't mind. But for the rest of my life, whenever I see red paint scattered around, I'll probably remember this room and start to vomit. My retinas have already had this room burned into them. In other words, it's already too late for me. What? No way. Right after they entered the servant room, Goda-san and Shannon-chan trembled. We shook, wondering what horrible new situation had arisen to make them tremble again.
どうしたの？何事？
Aunt Rosa also shuddered, raising her gun high and searched for whatever it was that made them shudder. But she couldn't find it. It was only natural. They were trembling because they couldn't find it.
なんだどうしたってんだ一体。
二人の遺体がありません。
Oh.
どういうことなの？
そんなはずないんです。確かにお二人はここに。
おいおいおい。なんだよ。死体がどこかへ歩いてったってのか。そんなわけはないだろ。
Nah, they couldn't.
だってこの使用人室は施錠されてたんだろ。 それを今ゴーダさんが開けて入ったわけじゃないか。ってことはなんだ？ジェシカの部屋と同じってことかよ。また密室の中から消えたってのかよ。そんなバカな。
私にも何のことやらさっぱり。私たちはこの部屋を出るとき、確かに鍵をかけて。
How the hell are you gonna explain this?
私こそ何が何やらもうわからないのです。
There was a timid, pitiful smile on Godo-san's face that he definitely wouldn't have let show normal. Shannon was the same.
二人の死体が消えた。しかも鍵をかけたのに消えた。仮にカノン君が犯人だとしても、カノン君はマスターキーをもう持ってないはず。
違います。カノン君は犯人じゃありません。
シャノン、僕はシャノンを信じるよ。
Of course.
カノン君は犯人なんかじゃない。きっとこれは彼によく似た何者かの仕業なんだ。
いいえ、カノン君はマスターキーを手に入れられたわよ。だって彼のマスターキーはジェシカちゃんの遺体のポケットから見つかった。そしてその鍵は誰が手に入れた？
そうだ、南條先生が。
Right? Back then, it definitely was that Dr. Nanjo who searched through Jessica's clothes and found the master key. So if someone had the opportunity to search Dr. Nanjo's corpse, it would have been easy for them to take the master key back. Aunt Rosa searched under the bed and in the locker. By now, I also understood what that meant. If you assumed that there were two culprits, this can't be easily explained. The first person was Ken-kun, or maybe an imposter who looks like him. Finished off Dr. Nanjo and ran off somewhere. The second person was probably the 19th person, Beatrice, whose location was unknown. That person hid under the bed in the servant room beforehand. And while Dr. Nanjo's body was enshrined here, they waited for Genji-san and the rest to leave. Then later, they crawled out, took the master key back from Dr. Nanjo's pocket, and carried the two corpses away for some reason. If they locked the door with the master key, you'd end up with this closed room. Okay. Let's see what the sidelines say.
ジェシカの部屋の推理を前提になかなか素早く組み立ててきたものよ。その方法なら魔法でなくても密室は作り出せよう。まずは及第点というところか。しかし実に面白いが、
Which
お前は一
is...
つ忘れてはならぬことがあるぞ。お前の言う方法で犯人がマスターキーを取り返したなら、その犯人はマスターキーを。
Oh. You know what? Not only that, but they should also check Dr. Oh, actually, fuck, they can't. He's literally gone. Damn. I was gonna say they can check the area around, but... No. Well, shit, actually. Okay, I guess it actually would just have to be that.
ジェシカの遺体から南條が回収したことを知っていたことになる。
言われなくても分かってるぜ。あの時、あの場にいた人物以外知り得ない情報だって言いてんだろ。 この第三の密室があっさり破られちまったもんで、そういう手で俺に闇を言うしかねえんだろ。同じネタの繰り返しは芸がないぜ。
I may have managed to bluff, but that move with the witches hurts bad. I can tell that I'm cracking under the thing that I want to deny the most. This person's trying to close in on me from two directions. On one hand, there's the frontal attack where she tries to force me to believe there's a witch using closed room tricks that only a witch could do. And on the other hand, there's the rear attack where she tries to lure me into wanting a witch to exist by strengthening my suspicions of those close to me. In the first closed room, the chapel, she used the frontal attack but didn't work on me. So by the second closed room, and now in the third closed room, she's definitely changing the direction of her attack. However, the fact that she is changing the direction of her attack proves that my resistance is having some effect. She must have given up on the frontal attack because she clearly can't win with it. I tried to settle my unease by thinking these things. But apparently the witch had seen through me long ago.
成功法は書かぬ。絡めては成功法と同時に進めてこそ意味がある。絡めてのみに出するは手段が目的となった時に起こる愚策に過ぎぬぞ。
Okay.
そうですかい。じゃあ、お得意の赤で何者かが使用人室に隠れていたを復唱してもらおうじゃないか。
その必要はない。お前の推理の前提は今から崩れる。
お拒否かよ。やっぱり誰かが隠れていたんだな。
ローザが今からお前の前提を崩す。
Wait, how?
まあ耳を傾けてみよ。
信じてください、ローザ様。確かにここに2人の遺体を安置したんです。
That is Aura. That is 100% Aura. Yeah. Holy shit. I don't even have to. Look, she's about to do it for me. That's crazy, bro.
この床の真っ赤な血は彼らのものなのです。
Rosa began to search through various objects around the room. Back to Goda-san as he cried out in supplication. Eventually, she found something and for a while stopped moving.
ローザ様、私たちは断じて嘘などついては。間違いなく2人の遺体はここにあったんです。
静かに。死体を隠した本人が死体はよそに持ち去ったと告白しているわ。これでね。
Which is... Rosa showed them a single sheet of paper over her shoulder. Oh, is it another note?
それは一体。まさか礼拝堂にあったのと同じ紋章入りの封筒の手紙。
Oh.
ええ、そうよ。ここに堂々と置いてあったわ。読むわね。
後ろ宮家の皆様。
Here we go.
黄金の碑文の謎解きはいよいよ佳境に入りましたでしょうか。皆さんに私を止めることができる唯一の方法が 碑文の謎を解くことなのです。それ以外のいかなる方法をもってしても私と儀式を止めることはできません。くれぐれも皆さんの目的をお間違いなきようよろしくお願い申し上げます。私を探そうとも無駄、私から逃れようとも無駄、私を否定しようとも無駄なのです。黄金のベアトリーチェ。
追伸、
Fucking toxic laugh at the end.
二人の遺体を儀式にお借りします。後ほどご返却いたしますのでご容赦をお願いいたします。あとこの鍵は皆様のものですのでご返却いたします。
As was the red that allowed the contents of the envelope lay exposed on the palm of her hand. There were 2 master keys. The master key that Nadra had found in Jessica's pocket, which had originally been Cannon's, and Kumasawa's master key. Okay.
なんだと
Oh, what are you gonna do this time? Hmm?
ってことはどういうことだよ。ふざけんなよ、またかよ。またマサキを持ってる使用人しか疑えないってのかよ。
わらわは赤では言ってはおらぬぞ。彼らがこの部屋に施錠をして去った時、この部屋に何者かが隠れていた可能性を否定してはおらぬぞ。
What the hell indeed, bro? How the hell is he gonna dig out of this one?
ベッドの下にでも隠れれば死体をどこかへ運び出すのはできないことじゃない。しかしそれじゃ施錠ができない。わざわざ手に入れたマスターキーをここへ置いてっちまってる。そうだ、忘れてた。この部屋の本来の鍵である使用人室の鍵はどうなっている？
それなら使用人室の奥のキーボックスに収められているぞ。使用人室の鍵は数本あるが、その全てがキーボックスに収められている。
ってことはジェシカの部屋の鍵の時と状況は何も変わらないってことか。使用人も便利なマスターキーがあれば不要な鍵はわざわざ持ち歩かないもんな。キーボックスにしまわれっぱなしになってるのも納得だぜ。
その他の条件も何も変わらぬ。出入りは唯一の扉と唯一の窓から以外は不可能。
Yeah, same configuration.
ゆえに隠し扉などの不正規な出入り手段は否定される。喜べ名探偵ども。そしてそれらはいずれも施錠されていた。
Oh, okay, that's confirmed. I don't know if you confirmed that in Jessica's room, but I feel like they were also both locked. I knew the front door was, but I didn't know if Jessica's window was also locked, but it probably was.
扉も窓も施錠時にはいかなる出入りも許さない。
I like how she also has to specifically state that line right there too. The door window do not permit any kind of entry or exit when they are locked, making it seem like could there be an inverse? Like I don't know. Is there a possibility where they do allow entry or exit when they are unlocked? Like, or they do permit a kind of entry or exit when they are locked. Like an opposite of that.
つまり施錠を維持したまま扉を外す、隙間を作ってすり抜けるなどなどは通用しないということだ。当然だが、扉の解錠は使用人室の鍵とマスターキー以外は不可能。
So no tricks.
毎回これを読み上げるのも面倒だの。今度これをまとめて一言に略す言葉でも考えよう。
だがこの部屋に誰かが隠れていたことは復唱できねえだろ。しかしそれだけでは密室の扉が破れない。ああ、クソクソ。ダメだダメだ、全然ダメだ。
お得意のチェス盤をひっくり返すとやらはどうした？自慢の陳説をぜひ披露してみよ。
チェス盤をひっくり返す。俺が犯人ならどうする？死体をどこかへ運び出す。手紙を残す。内側から鍵を閉める。ここから何かの方法で部屋を脱出すればいいんだ。くそ、そんな方法はあるのか。扉と窓以外からは外に出られないと赤で言われちまってる。あ、
Cool. At that moment, I got it. Oh, did he really? Okay, let's hear it. That's right. Culprit carried away the corpses, left a letter, and since they didn't use a hidden door, they weren't able to escape. That's it. This isn't a question, it's an answer.
で、あと復唱要求の前にお前の言う隠し扉の定義を確認したい。
何を思いついたやら。
If he's right, then they're gonna change it to his theme, right?
よかろう。説明する。
I'm waiting.
隠し扉とは知らぬ人間が認識できぬ出入り口のことであろうが、そんなこと子供でも知っておろう。
つまり
Oh,
部屋の外に出られなかったら
yeah.
それは隠し扉じゃないってことだよな。
ほう、そうきたか。
俺は犯人は密室から抜け出したものだとばかり思っていた。違うんだ。犯人だって密室から脱出できなかったんだ。だから隠れてやり過ごそうとした。
During the second closed room, I tried applying this theory to Canon-kun. But after hearing Canon-kun was killed and read, I gave up. I gave it up. After that, I proposed that the third person might have been in the room before escaping through a hidden door. And then, for the first time, I was faced with the right claim that hidden doors exist. Now move from there to what I've just learned. That term hidden door refers to things that make it possible to enter and leave a room. In other words, that category doesn't cover things that don't actually lead in or out of the room, even if these things could never be recognized by people who didn't know about them beforehand. So, if we had something like a hidden shelf or a secret closet, for example, that wouldn't count as a hidden door. That means the third person from Jessica's room is hiding there, waiting for us to leave. How pathetic. That was all just a bit of wordplay. So we have to be quite very literal now. not hidden doors. Do you want hidden traps? Do you want, well, I guess hidden shelves? Hidden levers? Hidden buttons? Hidden covers? Do we just gotta go down the list now? Is that what we're doing? Looks like the technique should have been enough to handle even this third closed room. If there's a hidden shelf under the bed, or anything like that, that'd be enough. Culprit's hiding somewhere, waiting for us to leave. The culprit is also trapped in this closed room even now. Which means, at this very moment, the culprit is still hiding in the servant room, holding their breath. And that means... the hell? Even though we've been tortured by closed rooms 3 times, at this very moment, we've actually gotten the culprit in checkmate.
ようやく見えてきたぜ。くらえベアト。副将要求。この部屋には俺たち以外の誰もいない。
Okay, what counts as us?
俺たちってのは、俺、ジョージの兄貴、マリア、ローザおばさん、ゲンジさん、ゴーダさん、シャノンちゃんのことだぜ。
Okay, he explained it.
どうだ、言えねえだろ。
Okay.
痛えとこ疲れただろ。拒否なら拒否と言いやがれ。次行くぜ。気象要求。
I don't know how they're hiding in this room. But if they are, then this solves the second closed room, Jessica's room at the same time. I finally caught her by the tail. With this, I can explain everything. Witches don't exist, and I don't have to suspect anyone. Alright, starting now, I'll spin it all around. Now I'll have her repeat that.
この部屋にはお前たち以外は存在しない。
Oh. Oh. That had to hurt. That had to hit what hurts. Ooh. He was literally going into detail about how happy and how excited he was, how he finally got it. He solved all 3 closed rooms, man. He was feeling himself. I tried to drop that? Okay.
お前たちの定義とは、バトラー、ジョージ、マリア、ローザ、ゲンジ、ゴーダ、シャノンのことを指す。
And we're back.
ジェシカの部屋に話を戻す。ジェシカの死体発見時、ジェシカ、バトラー、ジョージ、マリア、ローザ、ゲンジ、ゴーダ、シャノン、熊沢、南條のみだった。おっと、死体のジェシカももちろん含む。よって、ジェシカの部屋の件、そしてこの使用人室の件の両方について、そなたが認識していた以外の人間は存在しない。誰も隠れていない。さらに言おう。扉は鍵を使用せずに外から施錠する方法は存在しない。窓については外からはいかなる方法でも施錠する方法は存在しない。ついでに言おう。そなたは無能だ。
Damn, wait, you didn't have to say that. You didn't have to say that. What the fuck? Come on now. Jeez. Even that's in red too. What's the point of even putting that in red?
バカ野郎。それじゃあ本当に密室じゃねえかよ。せっかく思いついたのに。 お前が隠れていたんなら全て説明がついたのに。トリックを打ち破れたと思ったってのに。くそ。
Unfortunate. Oh, he's crying. It's useless, it's useless, it's useless, it's all useless. For a second, I thought I had it. It was all useless. Damn it. I was so sure that I'd finally seen through her. That I had seen how she distracted me with her clever red wordplay. Fool. Just when I thought I'd find a light in the darkness. It disappeared. Just disappeared. Swallowed up by a blood-red sea. Red. 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 Red! No one is hiding. And there's no hidden door and no way to get past the door or the window while they're locked. Have we just proven that it's all impossible? Has the devil's proof been fulfilled? With a frontal attack? Impossible. That's impossible.
どうしたのだ後ろ宮バトラー。
Battler'S.
魔女を否定する気で満々だったじゃない。そんなところで這いつくばって悔し涙を絞り出してどうしたんだい。ああ、それはとっても素敵な方法。わらわを笑い転げさせて笑い涙の海で溺れ殺してやろうというのは確かに素敵。
Damn.
実はそうなんだろう。わらわを笑って笑って笑い殺してやろうって手なんだろう。後ろ宮バトラー。
Repeated fucking
何
laughs.
か魔法だ。魔女なんて絶対に否定してやる。お前なんて絶対に信じない。
Alright, yeah, at least he's not a quitter.
魔法の力でみんなを面白半分にいじめ殺してるなんて
She would.
絶対に認めねえ。
なあバトラー、いじめすぎて悪かった。わらわ側からチェス盤をひっくり返してやるぞ。お前に代わってお前側の最善手を教えてやるよ。聞きたい？
ふざけんな。聞きたくねえ聞きたくね
ジェシカの部屋の件、そなたは実に良いところをついていたのだぞ。隠れてやり過ごそうとした。これは実にいい着眼だった。だがなぜそれをカノンと19人目のわらわにしか考えなかった？そうか、隠れてやり過ごすの、隠れてが邪魔だったから考えが至らなかったか。ほーら、もうわかるだろう。ジェシカだよ。ジェシカ。
If Jessica were the culprit, a farce like this could be easily constructed. She killed Canon Kun and carried him off somewhere. Then she played dead and let us walk by. That's ridiculous. Dr. Nacho definitely confirmed that she was dead. So was Dr. Nacho an accomplice too? That's wrong. I also confirmed that Jessica was dead. Of course, I've never examined a corpse before, but she was definitely dead. I think she was dead. No, that's probably surely definitely what I thought, but certainly, wait. She was dead. She was dead.
ジェシカもグルなのよ。
Oh,
そして検視をした南條もグル。ならば第三の密室など茶番だろうが。
yeah, that's simple. Dr. Ronjo was in on it. So, in other words, he's on the culprit side, which means he was never dead in the first place? He thought his body disappeared after he was killed, but what if he was never in the servant room to begin with? So if Kumasawa Bachan disappeared with him, does that mean she's in on it too? That's not all. That's not all. The servants who all agreed to keep to that story, Genji-san and Goto-san, even Shannon-chan, were also in on it. Then, the one who stole the key from Ria's handbag was Jessica. No, it could have even been George on a key. After all, if Shannon-chan is on the culprit's side, that automatically means George on the key is on the culprit's side. Wait a second, just wait a second. They're all wolves. They're all wolves. Not only am I drowning in an ocean of bright blood, there are packs of wolves clamoring on the banks, whose blazing eyes tell me that they'll eat me if I crawl out. Which way should I die? Should I deny everything and drown in a bright red sea? Or should I learn the truth and have my whole body chewed to bits by the wolves? It's either one hell or the other. I can't choose. Ah!
だからこそわらわがいる。さあ後ろ宮バトラー、ひざまずけ。そして永遠の忠誠を誓ってわらわの靴を舐めるがいい。わらわを認めれば全ての謎に決着がつく。わらわの力をもってすればどのような密室も生み出せ、そして打ち破れる。バトラー、力ある者に屈服する喜びに
The triple Beatrices.
たくはない。そなたはわらわの一番のお気に入りの家具にしてやるよ。
He would never be furniture.
そなたを愛して愛して灰になるまでわらわの玩具にしてやるよ。
Oh, shit. God damn! Damn, bro. He did it now.
これではっきりしたわ。
Alright. I wanted to at least finish that section, because I do see what time it is. It's about that time. It's about that time. Go ahead and close this. Yeah, GG's. Got to the important bit I wanted to see today? Yeah, fair enough. Thank you for still like your stream. No problem, man. No problem. Alright, good luck on that Prog. GG's, guys. GG's. Let me go ahead and save here. Alright. I'll see you later.